Nice. I think we're streaming live. Hey guys, this is Sunday. I'm James Hake of the Hake Report. We'll be kicking off officially in a few minutes, but I wanted to start early, as has become my practice when I'm ready and Joel's ready and you're all ready. So I want to just quickly read a little bit of Hake news for you. Hake news, not to be confused with fake news. First, I wanted to tell you about this Taliban thing that you may have heard about. Some of you already know about it, I'm sure, because you guys are news hounds, news fiends. But, by the way, shout out to YouTube, Facebook, I believe, is streaming, Periscope, D-Live, and Twitch, but not Mixer. Mixer is not streaming my show currently. Nor Jesse's, by the way. We'll have it fixed by Tuesday. Sorry, guys. My fault partly, but also Mixer's fault. They're being dumb, in my opinion. And I'll have some cool pictures to show you guys in a minute. But first, Trump versus the Taliban. Drudge reports Trump cancels a secret Taliban meeting at Camp David, Maryland. Wow, Taliban was going to come to Maryland. Crazy. Blames the Afghan bombing. So, Associated Press reports Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said Sunday, he's been on a bunch of news shows lately, or so-called news, right? That the Taliban, quote-unquote, overreached with their car bomb attack in a diplomatic area near the U.S. Embassy in Kabul, killing an American soldier. That led to President Donald Trump to pull back from the planned Afghanistan peace talks at Camp David. And rightly so. So Trump tweeted Saturday night that he had canceled a secret meeting planned for Sunday at the presidential retreat in Maryland. Wow, so they might have already flown over here. With Taliban and Afghan leaders, and called off talks with the insurgent group. He cited the Thursday attack. Pompeo said Trump broke it off because he did not want to reward that behavior, referring to Thursday's attack. Pompeo said more than 1,000 Taliban have been killed in battle over the past 10 days alone. So we can kill them, but they can't kill us, which is rightly so. We're America. The Taliban on Sunday said that Trump's abrupt decision to cancel the meet with the group's leaders on a finalized deal to end America's longest war would damage the credibility of the U.S., but they believe the U.S. will return to negotiations. Of course, they have to say that. Both sides were preparing, this is the Taliban speaking in a statement, both sides were preparing for the announcement and signing off of the agreement. They had said that they had been invited in late August, but wanted to wait until the deal's signing. Now we will continue the ongoing jihad against foreign occupation, and we firmly believe in ultimate victory. Dummies. So Trump's move puzzled observers. All sides have increased fighting to strengthen their position in the talks. But Taliban doesn't have a strong position because America has a stronger position. We're approaching the anniversary of the September 11th terror attacks, 2001, which some of you don't believe happened, or the way that we're told it happened, whatever. More than 2,400 U.S. troops have been killed since the U.S. invaded Afghanistan to go after the Taliban, which were reportedly harboring al-Qaeda leaders who were responsible for 9/11. Interesting. 2,400 over the past 18 years, I guess? Something like that. Anyways, guys, that's that. I'm glad that Trump is in charge because he doesn't get pushed around like these other guys get pushed around. Obama and all them. Total pushover. And also, the other thing I like about Trump, which you guys seem to not realize, some of you, that Trump doesn't rush into like wars and fighting and stuff. You'll notice he doesn't really rush into it. He does do some attacks and stuff. You know, being a leader of a country, you kind of have to do that, I guess. But I think he's doing a good job. Anyways, I have more fake news and Hake news coming up in a second.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, guys. I wanted to talk to you about the fake news media and the Democrats and rhinos and all their Trump derangement syndrome stuff. There's a picture of a guy with severe Trump derangement syndrome, George Conway. And it's a mess, but it's fun. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, I am James Hake. It is Sunday, September 8th, 2019. 3 days till 9/11. They called it an anniversary. AP called it. Anniversary of 9/11. 01. 18 years later. Dang. People who were born that day became 18 or will become 18. Interesting. So, I wanted to tell you briefly, shout out, by the way, again, to YouTube, Periscope, DLive, Twitch. I am on Twitch, and Facebook. But not to Mixer today, because we're not on Mixer. They're making us, like, jump through a bunch of hoops, watch this video about, no hate speech, blah, blah, blah. When I say us, I'm referring to me. I have to watch it, and I also have Jesse also has to watch it, right? And then we have to request a new stream key, and it's just a mess. Mixer is going the way of Twitch, I guess. Apparently, Twitch being a very anti-free speech, pro-communist platform, because they believe in hate speech, which is not a free speech notion. So, we'll be back on Mixer maybe Tuesday, hopefully. Cool pictures to show you. My thumbnail doesn't have anything to do with the whole rest of the show, except for me talking about it right now. I just took a few pictures yesterday at a park and some trees. I was laying down, lounging. And it's just some cool pictures of trees. I used to like to look at trees, the way that the branches grow. I was thinking about it, actually, when I saw this picture, when I saw the tree, the way that it grew. Like, it goes this way, and then that way, and then that way, and then all sorts of different ways, right? I don't even know what type of tree this is. But, and you can see some telephone wire in the side, by the way. Cool, huh? Anyways, I thought about how, like, we human beings grow, and they don't tend to grow like this. They tend to, they go in different directions, but then sometimes they stop growing, and they're not, like, solid and rooted in, like, the truth or whatever. They don't really, human beings are like, some of them are like this. It seems like the older school ones and the more, like, down-to-earth people that quote-unquote wake up end up growing like this, where it's just beautiful. But then, like, a lot of people grow and then stop growing and then, like, go off in a different direction. Like, chasing after some talent that they think they have, that they were told that they had, or get really into politics and chasing after knowledge and stuff like that, and getting all passionate about stupid stuff and becoming really immature. So it just made me think of that, because, like, it's so cool how this tree grew and then it branched out in all cool different ways. And it didn't really have to do anything and think about it. Kind of like what Jesus said. Think about the trees, the bird. I think he said the birds of the air. But I think he said the plants of the field. They don't labor and spin and stuff like that. But yeah, God takes care of them, and they grow and become, like, strong looking. And I don't know how this would hold up in a 50-mile-an-hour wind, or 60 or 120, like such as Hurricane Dorian was striking. But it's a pretty strong tree. I could climb it. It would hold up under me. And I'm not the lightest person in the world. So I just wanted to share that with you. Cool pictures. Taken with an iPhone 7 Plus. I got rid of the cover, because it's no longer Men's History Month nor White History Month. So now I'm, like, not advertising anything, hopefully. But I have some other cool pictures. Speaking of, like, human beings growing. The men's forum that we held on Thursday night. We had our men's forum Thursday night. It was not streamed. We do not stream it. We do not record it, except, a few snapshots, such as what I took here. And it's a bunch of cool guys. Some cooler than others, maybe. Nah, I'm playing. But it was fun. It was a really nice meeting. We go 7 to 8:30 first Thursday of the month, right? But, it never ends at 8:30. It usually goes till 9:30 or a little later. But it was super cool. And some guys are really taking heed of the wisdom that is offered. And that's cool to see. All ages, too. From 19 to 79. Maybe not 79. But 79-year-olds certainly are welcome. And they could get something from it. So it's cool. Really nice. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys not coming out like that. I'm traumatized by the word coming out. Because the media promotes the notion of coming out homosexual. Or coming out as transgender. And all that stuff. And no. Thank you guys for going to the men's forum. Attending. It was nice and there were newcomers, everybody, and old timers who've been coming who've been joining since forever, since before I started joining the meetings in 2007. So cool, and also thank you for the support. You can support Bond, rebuildingtheman.com/donate, 800-411-BOND. So, by the way, before I get to this Hake news versus fake news, I guess this is a fake news item. Jesse Lee Peterson is under attack. Pull up those Newsweek headlines. Jesse Lee Peterson is under attack from people offended about him saying Andrew Yang should go back to China, Taiwan, with his socialist communist ideas. And Newsweek picked it up. The far-left extremist website Right Wing Watch clipped a segment from Jesse's show, like a minute and a half, where he talked about this little Asian guy, Andrew Yang, Democrat, trying to give away free money. Well, he should go back to China or wherever he came from. Show some of the quotes because I don't remember. I don't have them handy. And so Jesse said, can we send this guy back to wherever he came from? Let him go over there and give away free stuff. Why is he coming here to turn America into the place that he left? Meaning his parents, really. What a sick person, he added. Beta male! They need to send him back to Taiwan or wherever he came from. And they call Jesse a controversial black minister renowned for his racially charged views and has been criticized by numerous times by rights groups, meaning wrong groups, because these people are not civil rights groups. In 2018, he was cut off during a CNN interview, factually incorrect. It was a Good Morning Britain interview, when he said that the group Black Lives Matter was founded by a bunch of black lesbians and homosexuals and radical social justice warriors, and Piers Morgan acted all offended. Fake guy. Liberal. Not impressed with Piers Morgan. His latest comment about Yang's heritage, Jesse's, appeared to echo what was said by President Donald Trump about four liberal Democrats known as the Squad. Trump tweeted that the Democratic Congresswomen Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna S. Presley should go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came. No, Jesse didn't get it from from Trump. He came up with it himself. Jesse's been saying stuff like this. I remember Jesse said that Stevie Wonder should go back to Africa. Because Stevie Wonder, it was a British interview, not CNN. That was fake news on the part of Newsweek. Getting the facts wrong. But, so he's, blind in more ways than one, Joel. That's true. Stevie Wonder, he talks crap about America sometimes. He believes in the fake racism thing and stuff like that. He has really nice songs, right? Jesse even sings his songs sometimes. But idiot when it comes to politics. Shouldn't talk about politics or anything right versus wrong, because he's for everything wrong. He's a sucker. Like most blacks, especially the black entertainers. Sucker! And so he said that he should go back to Africa. I remember I echoed that comment that Stevie Wonder should go back to Africa because he pulled something else on Facebook. And I had a whole argument with one of my Chinese so-called friends who was insisting that it was racist to say that. But it's fact, because he's so unhappy here. He's trashing America. He should get out of here. Anyways, so I think it's just great minds think alike. Jesse and Trump, great minds think alike. And maybe Trump listens to Jesse's show, by the way. So show that last one that I cut away from. Oh, yeah, he's also mocked Yang before, Jesse has. This is from Newsweek. When the Democrat broke down in tears during I don't know if he actually had tears during the campaign event in August, when he was discussing gun violence, in which claimed the life of a 4-year-old child, saying, "Poor baby." Oh, no, Jesse said, "Poor baby." I think that's a stunt. I don't think it's real. Yeah, Andrew Yang knows that the way to earn in politics, to win in politics, is to appeal to the women. And so he's kissing up to the women by faking emotions. I don't think it really worked, but whatever. And Newsweek picked this up, like I said, and promoted Right Wing Watch as an anti-extremist website. Show that, so you know that I'm not lying. Show any of them. Just blow through them, and I'll tell you when to stop. They called it an anti-extremist website. It is an extremist website. No, the Newsweek. Yeah, it's a Newsweek quote where they talk about Right Wing Watch being an anti-extremist website. Right Wing Watch is extremist. They're far left radicals. They hate Christians, whites, anything that promotes whites, they hate. Anything that is not for the gays, they hate. They're just like Media Matters. Show the excerpts, the quotes. One more. One more. I think I got it. Maybe not. Oh, okay. Never mind. I screenshotted it, but I didn't give it to Joel. My fault. Anyways, trust me, they called it an anti-extremist website. Ridiculous. Maybe I'll tweet it out and you guys can retweet it. Or I'll Gab it. I should get back on Gab. Anyways, just thought I would share that with you guys. You guys can call in 888-775-3773. 888-775-3773. So, I wanted to talk about fake news regarding the wall on both sides. Because there's a CNN headline. And we do have this one, I'm pretty sure. Mexico isn't paying for the wall. This is a lie from CNN. Here's where the money from the border wall is coming from. In fact, Mexico is paying for the wall. Trump said it. I believe it. That settles it. So they will be paying for the wall. And I think they maybe already are. But the idea was that they would pay through remittances, because Mexico makes a whole lot of money, or, Mexicans make a whole lot of money from their people sending money back home to Mexico from America. And we were going to start taxing that. That was one idea that was even on Donald Trump's campaign website from the very beginning. And the fake news obviously didn't even bother looking at the website, because they never acknowledged that. I don't remember ever them saying that, acknowledging that. So, anyways, CNN says air bases and a middle school are among the 127 projects that the U.S. will divert money from to pay $3.6 billion for 175 miles of southern border wall. And I'm asking, did anybody not think that we were going to front the money? America would front the money and Mexico would reimburse us? Anyways, this also shows 127 projects that the U.S. is diverting money to build the wall. That shows that Trump is doing, in my mind, it shows he's doing everything he can to build the wall. So eat it, doubters. All you guys that act like Trump played you. He didn't make any promises. Some of you guys didn't even vote for him, right? And you're like, he played you. He's not going to keep his promises. He's already broken his promises. He's not building the wall. And yes, he is. And he's, by hook or by crook, the wall is going up. Nice. It's being built. CNN also has a video titled in that headline, "Lawmakers Furious Over Diverted Military Funding," which is so laughable. Because the lawmakers are the ones who refuse to do their job for decades, protect America from foreign and domestic enemies. And these lawmakers are the domestic enemies, most of them, too, because they don't do their job. And actually, like, you can say that, I guess we all kind of are. Am I vocal frying? I guess you're either for what's right or for what's wrong, right? So that's why we have to be perfect. That's why Bond exists, to make men perfect again. So that's an example of Trump derangement syndrome. Here's another example of Trump derangement syndrome, this time a disappointing one from an entertainer. Yes, and I once saw this entertainer when I went to a watch from like a high story. I went to San Diego one time, years back, and watched a Taylor Swift concert from up high. I guess at the Padres. Over down there in San Diego, they have the Padres stadium, right? Isn't it the Padres? Yeah. So Taylor Swift sang down there. And the Rolling Stones man made a cameo appearance. It's not a cameo, right? But it's a guest appearance. And so he's supporting her, or she's supporting him, who knows what. But Mick Jagger, according to Drudge, blasts Trump for bad manners, ridiculous, lies, and of course the climate. Where is the polarization going to lead us, he asks. I think that he's totally faking it. He got a little bit of spotlight from the liberals. When I say the liberals, I mean the left, the radicals, because now he's pretending to be an environmentalist, right? But he appeared in some movie, and a whole bunch of climate change activists, radicals, useful idiots, stormed and protested at a red carpet event in Venice Film Festival or something like that. So according to AFP via Yahoo News, the British rock legend Mick Jagger, who was big in the 60s, and he's still big today because the songs are nice, but he's an idiot. He's a British rock legend, attacked President Trump for his rudeness and so-called lies Saturday, and for tearing apart environmental controls when America should be setting the standard for the world, which I think America is setting the standard for the world, pretty much, as far as being pretty clean. You know, some of these go like really radical, but in terms of like our output, it's like dwarfed by China's and maybe India's, maybe somewhere in Africa. I don't know about Africa because they don't have a lot of production, I don't think. But China is a terrible polluter, right? So they don't care about what's right. The singer said that he was absolutely behind young climate change activists who had earlier occupied the red carpet at the Venice Film Festival, where he was starring in the psychological thriller The Burnt Orange Heresy, whatever that means. Some movie. He appeared in some movie. And this guy is an icon, right? He's 76 years old now. And he bewailed the polarization and incivility in public life. Although the one-time bad boy, this is a AFP words for that, of 1960s rock admitted that he was not always for civility himself. And then he also bashed, as a side note, he bashed the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who is like a Trump wannabe, in my mind. He seems like he's okay. I hope that he gets Brexit for you guys over in the UK. I hope he delivers Brexit. He's no Trump, though. But hopefully he gets Brexit for you guys, because you guys did vote for it. Brexit being the British exit out of the EU, the European Union, globalist socialist organization, pushing refugees and immigrants from, POC countries onto the white countries. That's what the European Union does. And they push the climate change nonsense and all kinds of madness. So he referenced Boris Johnson comparing opposition labor leader, meaning a socialist, Jeremy Corbyn, to a big girl's blouse and a chlorinated chicken, which is a British insult. I don't really understand it, but he was calling Jeremy Corbyn, who doesn't want Brexit, despite what the people voted for. He refused to have like a snap election vote, right? And Boris Johnson bashed him as like a chicken, basically, or a girl. A big girl's blouse or a chlorinated chicken. I guess that's what that means. But anyways, Mick Jagger goes on. But when you see it now in so many countries, including my own last week, referring to that incident with Boris Johnson, but particularly in the U.S., which is, hint, hint, an attack on Trump, it's a sea change. It's not about manners. He worries where all this polarization and rudeness and lying is going to lead us. And he's referring to Trump supposedly lying, because Trump hasn't really lied. But they accuse him of lying, and so he believes it. He's a useful idiot. That's why we shouldn't listen to entertainers, right? And he's feigning worry about the environment, and I think that's just to save his own appearance, image in the media's mind, right? Because the media is environmentalists too. They're radicals. They're on the side of the extremist people that are protesting on the red carpets of the Venice Film Festival. Who cares? He should be protesting China, not America. He said, we are in a very difficult situation at the moment, especially in the U.S., where all of the environmental controls that were put in place that were just about adequate, which means barely adequate. It's British for barely adequate. Means not quite, maybe. Have been rolled back by the current administration so much that they have been wiped out. Jagger, who rarely comments on politics, said the U.S. should be the world leader in environmental control, but now it has decided to go the other way, meaning Trump got us out of the Paris Climate Accord, which was a good thing to do. The Paris Climate Accord was basically globalist socialism, redistribution of America's wealth to other countries. It wasn't really for fixing the environment, like we even can, right? I am so glad that people feel so strongly about this that they wanted to protest. There you go. There's that line. That's the kiss up. I don't believe that this guy cares at all. I don't think that he is concerned about this. Maybe he's never seen this type of fight before because in the previous years, you guys are right that the Republicans and Democrats and the Tories over in the UK, meaning the Conservatives and the Liberals, have all basically been on the same side of anti-whiteness, anti-men, kissing up to the women, kissing up to the POCs, kissing up to the environment, to a greater or lesser extent, environmentalists, the radicals. Basically excuses for more and more surrender of what the people want towards towards liberalism, towards globalism. It's all basically kind of ill-gotten gain because globalism makes more money, makes a lot of money, because then all these companies can go into other countries and make a lot of money. Google and Facebook kissing up to China's demands for, censorship and all that madness. That is basically they want to not have to abide by America's rules of free speech and don't hate white people. But they join into the hate of white people. Speaking of kiss-ups, here's some rhino kiss-ups. And I may have a picture of one of these guys. Joe Walsh, listen to this. Joe Walsh, according to Drudge, says George Conway is advising him. And these two guys are so-called conservatives. And they have severe Trump derangement syndrome. George Conway, of course, is the husband of Kellyanne Conway, White House counselor. And he is, according to Joe Walsh, who is a rhino, former wannabe Tea Party guy, radio host, former U.S. representative of Illinois. Joe Walsh is not George Conway, who I'm showing on screen. I don't have a picture of Joe Walsh for you yet. So George Conway is informally advising Joe Walsh's 2020 campaign because Joe Walsh thinks he's going to topple Trump. I think he's just trying to boost his platform, trying to put himself in the public eye more. And so Joe Walsh went on CNN, of course, another Trump derangement syndrome outlet, thought he was a conservative. Conservatives have no business going on Communist News Network. He said, I am honored to have his advice, referring to Kellyanne Conway's Trump derangement syndrome husband. As far as any formal role with our campaign, I would only be so lucky as to have somebody like George Conway involved. George T. Conway III, who is half Filipino by his mother, has questioned the president's mental health, which anybody who questions the Trump's mental health has mental health issues himself or herself, labeled Trump a racist president, and called on Congress to remove him from office. His criticism drew the scorn of Trump, who has called Conway a loser and a whack job. Yep, very true. Trump derangement syndrome. Just thought I would share that with you. And by the way, there's somebody else running. Another rhino is running for office. Drudge reports Mark Sanford, former Representative Mark Sanford, is running, according to Washington Times. He's mounting a primary challenge to President Trump in 2020, officially jumping into the race after publicly toying with the idea for several months. And these people just want fame, I think. Extra fame, extra power, money. He says there needs to be a conversation on what it means to be a Republican. Trump is the most Republican president that we've had, and we've had a whole lot of Republican presidents, rhinos. Bushes were rhinos, and they really exposed themselves as being rhinos when they wouldn't even vote for Trump. One of them probably voted for Hillary. One of them's dead now. Mr. Sanford, actually two of them, I think. I think both the Bush mother and father might be dead. I could be wrong. The father is George H.W. Bush. He died. I think as a Republican Party, we have lost our way, said Mr. Sanford, Mark Sanford. Former governor of South Carolina said on Fox News Sunday, he claims that he's worried about the debt. Whatever. I think Trump will get on top of the debt in the next term. He has to spend a lot of money to rebuild the military, which Obama let die out. So Mr. Sanford joins former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld, another rhino, and former Representative Joe Walsh as the most prominent candidates running for the long shot primary challenges. No challenge to Mr. Trump, who continues to enjoy overwhelming support among the GOP. Republican parties in states like South Carolina, his own state, I think, right? Was he governor of? Yes, former governor of South Carolina. Republican parties in states like South Carolina, Nevada, and Kansas are canceling or curtailing their presidential nominating contests this year. Meaning they're like, no, Trump is going to be the nominee. We're not going to hold a primary for the Republicans. We're just going to save money on that, which they've done in the past before, too. But that's funny. Mark Sanford of South Carolina, his own state is not going to hold a primary for him, or curtailing it anyways. Their presidential nominating contests this year. That's what a nominating contest means, primary, where they decide, is some other Republican other than Trump going to be the nominee for president? No. So they're not going to hold it. Good for them. More ridiculousness for you guys. NOAA, which is the weather organization, right? NOAA? Assailed for defending Trump's Hurricane Dorian claim. President Trump talked about, said that Hurricane Dorian may hit Alabama, right? Because Florida Mississippi, Alabama, something like that. Alabama, Mississippi, whatever. You guys know your geography better than me. But I guess in a Sharpie on a map, he drew, I didn't even pay attention to this story, but they keep on putting it in headlines. So I've just seen a couple of headlines, really. I didn't really care about it. I did watch one video from some liberal reporter saying, this is a time to ignore a Trump controversy. But the NOAA, let me tell you what the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, yeah, that's the weather group from the government, is assailed for defending President Trump's hurricane claim because he said that it may hit Alabama, as I understand it. And there's uproar in the weather community. Bunch of liberals. It reminds me of like sports journalists. You know, people who play sports tend to be a little bit more, or they should be more conservative because they have to actually work hard to, succeed in sports. But some of them are brainwashed to be liberals, of course, right? And then the sports journalists, though, are off the deep end liberals because the journalists, so-called, are do-nothings, right? They just write and talk about the people who are actually doing this stuff. I mean, people who are playing sports aren't doing a whole lot, but they're playing. But anyways, I think the weather reporters and the weather so-called scientists, think about that. The weather scientists are, physicists and all that. They're funded by the government, so of course they side with Democrats. They want to promote this fake notion of climate change and stuff. And then they also have Trump derangement syndrome. We've seen a whole lot of these science-type people have Trump derangement syndrome, questioning Trump's mental health. So, of course, the so-called weather community is having an uproar over the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, saying Trump wouldn't. It's fine for Trump to do that. They're claiming that the National Weather and Science Agency, and it may even risk lives, that Trump said, hey, watch out, Alabama, you could be on the path too. He was just trying to be like better safe than sorry is how I read it, right? But everybody freaked out saying, he's messing with the data and giving bad information. But it's all like predictive, it's all conjecture in reality anyways. Most of the time, the weather guys, well, I wouldn't say most of the time, but a lot of the time, the predictive weather people, they're wrong. And by the way, Hurricane Dorian or Storm Dorian is battering Canada, and it's still at hurricane force too, by the way, according to Drudge. So it's a serious storm. Crazy, huh? But it's to me, it was just so funny that multiple agencies have corroborated what Trump said, that, hey, could be Alabama, could hit Alabama. Trump even tweeted a video of a CNN guy claiming that it could hit Alabama. So he made these guys look stupid. And they're looking even stupider trying to attack him over this issue. So he said that it could hit Alabama, but the prediction was no longer that it would hit Alabama. But he said, last I heard, it was going to hit Alabama, I guess. It's just an interesting thing. And it just shows you that these intellectuals, the experts, are just dummies like you and me. Like they're even worse in most cases because they're liberals. And so they're not to be trusted. They're not to be looked up to and listened to as authorities because they are politically motivated and they're uptight intellectuals concerned about piddly side note issues, details that don't actually matter that much. Whereas Trump is a big picture guy. He's like, watch out, guys. And with the border, Trump is a big picture guy. But they want to nitpick on stupid details. So Democrats make me roll my eyes. The media are claiming, by the way, that Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren are the only double-digit Democrats. Double-digit meaning they have like a double-digit percentage among the polls, meaning they're 10% or up or over And I think that they're just hiding. This is my conspiracy theory, right? I think they're just hiding Kamala Harris for her to do another slingshot. Like maybe attack those three people as being racist, and then she'll get the nomination. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't see any of these guys getting the nomination, especially not Joe Biden and especially not Bernie Sanders. Joe Biden doesn't even have the support of Barack Obama, his president. Joe Biden was vice president for Barack Obama. Biden was standing by him like a faithful white man, right? Kiss up. And does Obama endorse Joe Biden? No. Because Obama knows that the monsters that he was created into and that helped create him and the monsters that he created, meaning the little socialist people, the anti-white people, anti-male people, would have a hissy fit if he endorsed the old white man for president. So he's not going to endorse Joe Biden. He has no faithfulness to Joe Biden, his friend, so-called friend. Bernie Sanders, I don't see Bernie Sanders winning the nomination. Bernie Sanders had his chance and he failed. He had his chance with Hillary Clinton back in 2016, but he didn't. He failed because he's a kiss-up. He's a fake. He supports Black Lives Matter and stood aside for the Black Lives Matter people. So Bernie Sanders is not going to get the nomination. I don't picture. You know, these are just my speculation, right? And Elizabeth Warren, I don't see Pocahontas winning the nomination. I thought that she might, like a few years ago when I first saw her come out of the woodwork, attacking business people and just being a socialist, being like, oh, you're a successful businessman, good for you. She did another whole, you didn't build that thing, where, you know, when Obama said, if you have a business, you didn't build that, somebody else made that happen. They built the roads and blah, 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 infrastructure. That's why maybe we shouldn't even let the government build the infrastructure, the roads, telephone lines, and all that stuff, because then they start getting greedy and trying to say like they own part of our business. Ridiculous. And so that's basically a gateway drug to socialism, is what they're pretending, you know. And so this Elizabeth Warren woman did the same thing when I first became aware of her years back. She did another nasty, trashy, evil, filthy attitude, mean attitude towards business owners or business, you know, entrepreneur type people. She's an evil, nasty woman. And plus she's Pocahontas. She just made herself look silly with saying, my mom told me that we had Indian blood in me. I say the same thing. My dad, I think my dad told us that they found Indian blood in his dad. But I don't know if it was a dream because it's too surreal to, like, when I tell the story. Because we started dancing around in a circle going, hi, hi, hi. Anyways, I've told you guys that story before. And but I especially don't see the males getting the nomination for the Democrats, meaning these old white men, Bernie and Biden. Warren, maybe, but I just don't see it. Listen to this, though, which I think hurts Warren's chance even more. According to Drudge, Warren and Clinton are teaming up. Now you know she's going to lose. People are not happy with Hillary Clinton. Why is she teaming up with Hillary? And I think here's another way that Kamala Harris, I think this is a positive thing for Kamala Harris, actually. Not really, actually. But according to CNN, here's a headline from CNN. It's ridiculous. Kamala Harris has apologized after she was criticized for a response to a man's offensive remark about Trump. Talk about unintriguing and undescriptive, right? The only new info I heard from that headline was that it was a man who said this. But you guys may have heard this. CNN has to make sure that you know that it was a man. They hate men. I saw a headline that actually told you what happened. She was forced to apologize, Kamala Harris. She's the one who's part black and part Indian. No, not Indian, Indian. Meaning the people from India. She was forced to apologize for laughing when someone called Trump, quote unquote, mentally retarded. Who wouldn't laugh at that? I would even laugh at that, even though it's like the other way around. Anybody who hates Trump is mentally retarded. But it's funny because there's this fake political correctness going around, and this lack of a sense of humor, and this backlash against traditionalism, being traditional, where you can't say retarded anymore because it will offend the actual retarded people or something like that. But I don't know any retarded people who are actually offended by this. In fact, I think the only people who are offended I think the only people who are offended are the ones that either A, are liberals, brainwashed, emotional, fake people. B, or intellectuals, same thing. Or B, work with retarded people. It's like this, I remember hearing, another banned joke, a joke that has been banned, is when you talk about, oh, you're artistic, or artistic, right? Artistic, like art, you make art. Well, some people make a pun by saying, oh, maybe I'm autistic. And that's not supposed to be a laughing matter to joke about being autistic, because people with severe autism may be offended, but they won't be offended. I don't think that people with severe autism would be offended by that. But I think the people who are offended are the ones who are close with autistic people, severe autistic people, because I think what the issue is they're mad about having to deal with their autistic family member or friend or whatever, family member usually. They're traumatized because severe autism is the person doesn't function normally. And so they basically have to be babysat a lot, and they can go off, or I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what all it is, but it's a challenge, right? It's a very challenging situation for the family members who take care of the autistic people. And I think that they get mad because that's no longer a laughing matter to joke about autism at that point. And so I think the same thing is happening with the retarded people. They're emotional and can't separate joke from reality. They don't want you to joke about, racism. Racist jokes are the funniest jokes, right? Usually, so-called racist jokes, and usually because they're true. But anyways, sometimes not. But even then, they're sometimes funny. Same thing with this. It's just political correctness. Can't say Trump is mentally retarded. Can't say anybody is mentally retarded. Anyways, she got caught by her own bunch of liberals, hit mob, squad, whatever. Anyways, I have some more news for you, some more ridiculous stuff. And there's one headline that I do not understand. I haven't looked into it, but I want to share it with you guys. But let me get to some calls first. Samuel, out of Sweden, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine.
Right on.
And I didn't hear anyone call into the show, so I thought, well, I can call in,
Appreciate it. What did you want to talk about?
Yes, there's a news here in Sweden that a person tried to have a personalized license plate on his car with the name Trump.
Nice.
And it was stopped. It was stopped because the government thing, that the size thing, said that it was offensive to some people to have Trump. So he was stopped to have a sign with Trump.
Wow. That's so ridiculous. If they had Obama, it would be no problem. Stupid people.
Yeah.
And Obama that's actually offensive, right? But they still have I would give them the right to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't smash their cars if they had Obama, but...
Right, yeah, that's true. His car, if it had Trump, it might get vandalized, I suppose.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So maybe the government maybe the government that denied him the license plate did him a favor. But people have stickers on their car that say F Trump. That's not offensive? But that's a little bit different from a license plate. But still, that's crazy.
You know, when you mention that, I sometimes think that perhaps they should try to organize a march for Trump in Sweden.
Yeah.
You know, try to get some folks that support Trump, because I have never heard that in Sweden. I mean, people are just silent, but I know there's Trump supporters. I mean, I even met a person here where I live that has a hat, you know, with the Make America Great sign by Trump. So
Yeah.
I know that there are pro-Trumpers. I'm a pro-Trumper.
Yeah, I know. That's good. And are you an out of the closet Trump supporter?
Yes,
So people know.
Yes,
Wow.
when I every time I come in, if I come in political conversation, I'm
Wow.
support Trump, and I mean people. Well, they take it good so far.
Yeah. Wow.
I have a Mark Dice T-shirt with Trump building the wall. If you have seen that.
Nice. Well, right on, Samuel. It's nuts, but it's not surprising, to be honest, because I've heard about Sweden. They're not exactly free over there.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's correct.
I appreciate it, man. Take care.
Yeah, the same. Bye.
All right. You know, here's something ridiculous. So, this woman, Serena Williams, a tennis player, very talented black tennis player. She's been around since I want to say since I was in high school, maybe not quite that long, but she's been like Venus and Serena Williams were like making headlines for years, maybe more than a decade, right? Maybe close to 2 decades approaching. So she's got to be in her late 30s. Another teenager beat her in tennis, beat Serena Williams in tennis. And first, I think a teenager beat her a month or two ago, or some months back, right? It was somebody who's like Japanese or something, or part Japanese, part black, or something like that. I don't know. But another Canadian teen, according to Drudge, was so sorry for after an upset of Serena Williams. Bianca Adriscu says sorry. The most Canadian way to accept a trophy. I guess Canada is known to be a beta country. Bianca Adriscu. Is that a French woman? The new Grand Slam winner accepted her win with grace and poise and an apology. Twitter's going wild over the 19-year-old, not just stunning upset of the tennis icon Serena Williams, but because she proved a long-lived Canadian stereotype. This is all according to CTV News. And so, in an interview after the win, she was asked about the second half of the match when Serena seemed poised to make a comeback. She asked what her biggest obstacle was to overcome in that moment. She said, "Definitely the crowd." She laughed sheepishly. As an audience of 20,000 Americans roared, she turned away from the interview to send her words out to them, holding up her hands beseechingly. "I know you guys wanted Serena to win. I'm so sorry." That's so nice. That's what you get with them. That's what you get with the female athletes, I guess. So that's just a funny side note. It's kind of like, it's not exactly kissing up to the blacks this time. It's just Canadians being beta. By the way, here in Los Angeles, I've witnessed it before my eyes in the last 12 years that I've been coming to Bond, the church services, men's forums, and then working here the past 5 years or so. Well, homelessness has exploded. It's like you used to see like one on the street maybe once a week or once a day. Maybe two you would see on the street, but you wouldn't see where they slept. You wouldn't have any idea where they slept. But in the past few years, you've seen more and more and more and more tents on the sidewalks around even nicer neighborhoods. You used to see it, over in downtown with the rundown areas and maybe some of the, downtown. But now it's like insane and ridiculous all over the place. You have to kick people out, say you can't be here, and it's a mess. And the liberals are kissing up to them. And I heard a story up in San Francisco of one like street preacher or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but got like flesh-eating disease and lost his leg. His leg was amputated for it, I think, because he was ministering to these homeless people and got flesh-eating disease from one of them. Crazy, right? Well, leprosy, according to Drudge, this is a question, the next public health crisis to hit Los Angeles? So, according to Zero Hedge, there is severe issues going on. Leprosy cases are emerging in Los Angeles County, according to a recent study revealed in Reuters Health Report and its co-author Dr. Maria Teresa Ochoa of Keck Medical Center of the USC, University of Southern California, Los Angeles, told Reuters Health that she's urging the public to fight this stigma. Fight this stigma? Liberal, because they like to get rid of the stigma about mental health so that you can admit that you're mentally ill so that they can take away your guns. And they like to fight the stigma of STDs so that you brag about having an STD, I guess, and you just have a bunch of sex and stuff. All kinds of stuff. The disease, commonly referred to as Hansen's disease, is curable when treated expeditiously, according to the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Scientists believe it is spread through particles in the air. Wow. But also say contact must be prolonged and close. Interesting. An infected person can suffer mild to severe damage to the body's skin, nerves, and mucous membranes. Moreover, patients can lose feeling in parts of their bodies and suffer permanent blindness. Man, we're going back to like Jesus' times. Jesus healed a bunch of lepers. But going back to the third world. Dr. Victor S. Santos, who works with a team of researchers in the Federal University of Alagoas in Arapacia, Brazil, told Reuters as leprosy has been a neglected disease with a high potential to cause deformities, especially when it is not treated properly, I would like to reinforce the need for early identification of cases in the community with the adoption of active case search and screening of household, and there are no household for the homeless, and social contracts from all index cases. Crazy. Such measures could minimize leprosy-related problems as physicians and other health professionals could better care for these patients. Ochoa said her team studied 187 infected patients between 1973 and 2018. The report found, according to Reuters Health, that 16% of patients suffered from loss of protective sensation, while 26.2% of patients had a visible deformity. They needed to start leper colonies, basically. It's crazy. Back in Jesus' time with the Bible, people lived in leper colonies. But now they kind of have to go back to that. Now they have their little leper friends, and then some of them will go to Jesus, get healed, then don't go back. But it's crazy. And it's thank you, globalism, and thank you, liberals, for ushering in a whole bunch of letting people be homeless. The liberal fake media and the leftist government, meanwhile, are cracking down on quote-unquote truth tellers as disinformation because fake news applies to them. So they don't want to use the word fake news anymore, so now they have to call it disinformation. And they accuse Trump of disinformation and Trump supporters of disinformation and all kinds of madness. A new FEC bid, I reported on this the other week, the Federal Elections Commission, to get Drudge, right? Washington Examiner reported about this liberal FEC chairwoman, female chairman, targeting online news that she considers fraudulent. And this conservative or Republican former FEC chairman, Federal Elections Commission, says that they're going to go after Drudge and stuff like that. They want to go, and Drudge just aggregates news, right? They don't really even, they break some news, but whatever. So they're joining in with this anti-Trump so-called free speech advocacy group called, what is it called? Something about writing, PEN America, which is supposed to be a free speech advocacy group. It has ripped Trump for his criticism of the media. So they're not a free speech advocacy group. They don't support Trump's free speech, which is true speech against the media, that the media is the enemy of the people. And this chairwoman is Ellen Weintraub, hosting this forum, September forum event. And I don't know if it already happened or it's going to happen, with this PEN America people. Going after Trump, pro-Trump stuff, basically. They want to undermine the election, really. They want Trump's 2016 to not happen again in 2020 or, 2024. They don't want the people to be able to tell the truth. Because the people tell the truth, and it goes viral and stuff like that. Whereas the establishment media tell, lies and manipulated facts to present their narrative, which is anti-Trump. So they're going to be joining with Republicans, so-called, rhinos, no doubt, Democrats, and then big internet firms like Google, Facebook, Twitter, which are all filthy far-left liberals. And they kiss up to even the further left, like Obama did, right? And they're going to identify effective policy approaches and practical tools that can minimize the disruption and confusion sown by fraudulent news and propaganda in the 2020 campaign. Basically, they're saying that they want to cut off information given to us because we're too dumb to decipher the truth from the lies, which is not true. People can see through, well, if you give them the information. Normal people, of which there are fewer and fewer, right? With common sense, can see through the madness. And, I read CNN, and I can cut through the crap and find out what's more or less what's probably going on. Anyways, some conservatives, including the former FEC chairman, raised suspicions of censorship efforts against right-leaning media like Drudge and Fox News even. And he says the FEC has no business policing the truth or accuracy of speech of any kind by American citizens on the internet, said Lee Goodman, who's the former FEC chairman. Recalling his fight on the issue, I concluded that the conservative speakers and press would always be held to a double standard, which is fact. You saw it with the IRS, by the way. The IRS was going after the Tea Party and conservatives. Anything that was patriot or militia sounding, they would audit those people under the Obama administration. It was a double standard because these are a bunch of liberals. So the truth is hate speech to them. Hate is love and love is hate for them. And the truth is lies and lies is truth to them. They believe that homosexuals are born that way when there's no evidence. They believe that Islamophobia and anti-Semitism and racism and sexism are big problems. No, dummies. So they are basically anti-white. He said, now the hook is to get Drudge is something vaguely defined as disinformation. However that may be defined exactly. The FEC has no business regulating the internet or browbeating international platforms to censor American citizens. And it's so obvious, right? This woman, that's like the Federal Elections Commission. It's not even like the FCC, Federal Communications Commission. If it were the FCC, then you'd be like, oh, okay, they're supposed to regulate communications. But no, this is to regulate the elections. Crazy. Just a little bit of updates on the fake news happenings lately. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining. Church with Jesse Lee Peterson, rebuildingtheman.com/church, or Bond Rebuilding the Man on Facebook. And shout out to D Live, Jimmy DM, Thank you for the, I believe there's a Ninja Guinea smoking on it. Noah's Arkansas, Army Ann, Hip Pocket 71S. Thank you guys. And of course, thank you to Rafa. Give a thumbs up to Hake. Don't be a beta. Peace, James. Thank you, man. Appreciate that, Rafa or woman. Thank you, guys. We'll see you tomorrow on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show and the Hake Report. And of course, today, Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel and whatever else. You can catch it on D Live too. Church with Jesse Lee Peterson is excellent. Make sure you catch it. All right, guys, take care.